Good Saturday afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And as promised, I've decided to do a Firestarter retrospective thing. So I'm just gonna do like a very brief review on the book, the original 1984 adaptation, and the remake. So Firestarter was written in 1980. See if that is correct. Yeah, 1980. And of course, this is one of his earlier books. It was probably his first book written in the 80s. And this tells a story of Andy McGee and Charlie McGee. They are father and daughter, and they both have special powers. The father has what's called the push. It's kind of like a hypnotism. He gets people to do what he wants them to do. It's a really interesting power. And of course, Charlie McGee is a pyrokinetic. Obviously, this is called Firestarter, so she starts fires with her mind. And this is a really, really good book. And I honestly really don't have anything bad to say about it, except that the ending kind of feels forced to me, and it just kind of wraps up really quickly. I mean, the 1984 original kind of ends the same way as this. But I actually really enjoy this one. And I guess I gotta tell you that they're on the run from what's called the Shop, which is like a government agency. And they keep people with special powers in their facility and do experiments on them. Charlie and his wife Vicky escaped and had Charlie, and she gets very unhinged. And there is also a special agent named John Rainbird. He's kind of like an Indian of sorts. And he manipulates Charlie to a T because he actually befriends her and becomes very close with her. But he's actually working with the Shop, and they want to take her down. So there's a really fiery explosion at the end, pun intended. But these are my really brief thoughts about the book. I really enjoyed the book, and I gave it 5 stars, and I read it in January of 2020. So that is what I thought about Firestarter, the book. And now on to the 2 adaptations, starting with 1984, and that stars Drew Barrymore and David Keith as Charlie and Andy, and George C. Scott is Rainbird, and Martin Sheen is Hollister, which he is the director in charge of the Shop. And of course, the 2 of them were on the run, and they get picked up by a farmer named Irv Manders. They just seek refuge at his farmhouse, and then the Shop catches up to them. And that's when the story takes off. I mean, there's a lot of good, well, I don't want to say they're good special effects. You can tell that they're from almost 40 years ago. I mean, the effects in here are kind of cheesy, but I did have fun with this one, and I thought it really followed the book to a T. So, this is a pretty solid movie, and I ultimately am going to give it like a 3 out of 5. I actually didn't watch my copy here, I watched it on Peacock. So I just wanted to show it off here. Those are my thoughts on the original. And finally, I watched the remake yesterday on Peacock as well. And this one has Zac Efron in it. And her name was Ryan Kiera Armstrong. And this has a slight difference to it. It is shorter than the original. And the way the climax happens, she actually doesn't get captured. She goes out to find her dad. And this is going to be well, I guess it will be a major spoiler alert, but near the end, he actually pushes her to tell her to burn everything down, including her and Hollister, which is played by Gloria Rubin. Slight difference on there, but yeah, that's kind of how the climax happened. And throughout the movie, you see her like in a school and she gets made fun of. None of that's really in the book. I mean, she was like on the run with her dad the entire book. It kind of made no sense for her to be in like a school environment. I was like really disappointed with the Firestarter remake. I love the book. The original is watchable, but I really don't see myself revisiting this. But me being a Stephen King fan, I probably will go get it when it comes out. Ultimately, I hate to say this, but I gave the remake of Firestarter a 2 out of 5. Yeah, I was just really disappointed with it. But those are my thoughts on all three media. I highly recommend the book if you haven't read it yet. And I definitely recommend the 1984 original. But you can definitely stream the remake on Peacock right now if you don't want to go to the theater. So just have fun with all of this. And coming up next is my Jurassic Park 3 movie review. And if I'm feeling lucky, I might have a movie called Men and review that as well. That's a new A24 film. Know absolutely nothing about it, so that one will probably just be up in the air. But those are coming very, very soon. Just keep on keeping on, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.